morning. Greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day in The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 33 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis, and while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, if you've got a comment or success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you have questions about our True Skin Health products or anything you may have read about or heard about in the world of skincare, in the world of nutrition, in the world of healthcare, there's so much misinformation out there. Oh, my God. There is so much just flat-out wrong information. Yesterday we talked about sunscreens. I've been talking just from a common sense, common biochemical sense perspective. If you understand even a little bit about chemistry, you could see the chemical structure of a sunscreen. You could say that stuff's going to be nasty. And then you understand the mechanism of a sunscreen. It electrically modifies, it electrically changes photonic energy on your skin. It's electrical, it's a nasty chemical, it's fat soluble, it goes into the skin. When I started seeing this stuff and reading about it as a chemist 30 years ago, I was like, you don't want to put that on your body. But I would still confront this nonsense, this stupidity from the medical model and from people who bought into it about putting sunscreens on. And so I just started telling people, don't put that stuff on. And I would get people rolling their eyes at me and getting mad at me. I remember some gal I did a talk with maybe 400 or 500 people in the room, and some gal completely freaked out on me. She, of course, was in the sunscreen business. She completely freaked out on me. How can you tell people that? How dare you tell people that? Anyway, there's so much misinformation. There's so much bad information out there. That's why I do this program. It's my mission in life to clear up the mumbo-jumbo nonsense that's spewed upon us by the medical model, proponents of the medical model, and nefarious marketers that prey on people who fall into this trap of the medical model. And that's what this program is about. It's about clearing up the baloney and honoring the body and honoring the biochemistry of the body and honoring how our bodies work. It's not complicated, people. How the body works is really not complicated. Now, how a cell works and how all the molecular structures take shape and all the processing, that's pretty darn complex. But you don't need to know all that stuff if you just want to be healthy. As fascinating as it is, health is about plumbing. Health is about the circulation. It's about the movement of blood and the movement of fluids. That's all health is. That's it in a nutshell. All disease is cell disease. And all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. Likewise, all health is cell health, and all cellular health is preceded by clean blood. And how do you clean the blood? By working on the digestive system. That's it, folks. Once we nail that down, there's not going to be any need for me on this program, although there is lots of interesting stuff you hear on this program, because the body is really interesting and health is really interesting. But if you're sick, you don't have time to deal with the interesting part. You don't care about the interesting part. You just want to get better. Clean the blood. Facilitate movement of the fluids. That's how you stay healthy. Clean the blood. Facilitate movement of the fluids. Cleaning the blood is largely a digestive health issue, a food issue. Cleaning the blood is largely a food issue. If you're IV drug using, obviously that's a problem. If you're taking prescription drugs, that's a problem. If you're breathing in toxicity, that could be a problem. You know, there's all kinds of ways that we muck up the works, but for the most part, it's food. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number, 844-236-6010. Got lines open for you. We're talking about industrial mercury. Most industrial mercury, we're talking about toxic mercury, and most of the toxic mercury in our environment is industrial mercury. It's produced by something called the chloralkali process, the chloralkali business, or the chloralkali factories. Chloralkali factories are where we make chlorine and also lye. Lye and chlorine are two very important, chlorine especially, really important industrial chemical in our modern 21st century society, 20th century society too. Salt, sodium chloride, is basically turned into chlorine and sodium. And it's done in this super high-tech electrical process. It's called the chloralkali process. And mercury is a key part of the process. And this chloralkali process that utilizes mercury to split apart sodium and chloride is inherently very leaky. Mercury leaks. Half a ton of mercury is released into the environment, spewed out into the air for every ton of chlorine that is produced. If you live near one of these factories, you are breathing in lots of chlorine. And guess what? You don't even have to live near one of these factories because there's millions and millions of tons of chlorine produced every year. And that means there's probably 10 to 100, maybe more tons of no, wait a minute. That's not right. There's actually millions of tons of mercury. Half a ton of mercury for every ton of chlorine. Think about that. You have probably 40 or 50 million tons of chlorine produced every year. That means there's 25 million tons of mercury. Oh my God, it just hit me. How can that be? We're spewing out millions of tons of mercury out into the environment. So of course it's going to end up in the water, and of course it's going to end up in the plants, and it's going to end up in the soil, and it's going to end up in the air. That's a lot of mercury. That's millions of tons of mercury every year. And then you got mercury that's produced that's used in the production of barometers and thermometers and various scientific gizmos. And then you got mercury that's produced in the paper industry. Then you got mercury that's used in the dental industry. Then you got mercury that's used to produce paint. You see where we're going here? You got mercury from pharmaceuticals, mercury from agricultural fertilizers and toxins and poisons. And eventually, it's inevitable that there's millions of tons of mercury every year. That's every year. You're talking about billions of tons a decade of mercury that's eventually, and this is not just mercury, the soil mercury. The soil mercury's got its own problems. Soil mercury, that's the stuff we were talking about yesterday. That's the cinnabar. So the mercury that's spewed out into the environment that we're all eating, everybody's eating it, yes, everybody's drinking it, everybody's breathing it, that mercury is methyl mercury and sometimes ethyl mercury. Methyl and ethyl mercury, they call them alkyl mercuries. Those are way more toxic than the stuff that's in the earth. Not that the stuff in the earth is benign. Mercury sulfide or cinnabar has a reputation for being the deadliest mineral on the planet. As pretty as it is, mercury sulfide, cinnabar, sulfur plus mercury, and we're going to talk about that one because sulfur and mercury are very, very fascinating combination. Cinnabar, aka the most toxic rock on the earth, is probably the most important natural source of mercury. Cinnabar means dragon's blood, and cinnabar has serious toxicity. So you got some mercury that's in the earth that's toxic, you got mercury that's being spewed out into the environment that's toxic. It's a big problem. Mercury's toxicity is associated with its tremendous activity. It's super, super active. It really, really, really wants to attach to things. And what makes a chemical or a molecule or an element toxic is its desire to attach to things. It's lonely. It will do anything to attach to something. And to the degree an element wants to attach to something, that's to the degree it's toxic. And mercury really wants to attach to things. It especially craves sulfur. That's its favorite thing to attach to, at least in the natural world, mercury and sulfur. And yesterday we talked about the alchemists. The alchemists recognized this, and they called the combination of mercury and sulfur the holy wedding because of mercury and sulfur's what they represented, mercury representing the feminine and sulfur. All right, we're back on the bright side. Got lines open, 844-236-6010. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 at brightsideben.com on the archive page and the Listen Now page. My friend Kevin Peterson in Russia puts he records all the programs, all our Brightside programs, and puts them up on a YouTube channel, and on Facebook you can listen in that way as well. And then we have blog posts and news stories and videos up at criticalhealthnews.com, brightsideben.com, and pharmacistben.com as well. You can check out our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. All right, so we are talking about mercury. This whole thing about alchemy is very fascinating. Pharmacy began as alchemy. The initial alchemists were obsessed with purifying things. The famous story is they wanted to make gold from lead. The philosopher's stone, the famous philosopher's stone, was supposed to be something that turned gold into lead, or turned lead into gold. Pharmacy, the art of pharmacy, really kind of evolved from alchemy, using chemicals, using chemistry to purify the body. To the ancient pharmacists, or the original pharmacists and the alchemists, purifying the body was purifying it of symptoms, getting rid of sicknesses. And so it was a natural, because alchemy was all about purification and using elements and natural substance to purify. So to purify lead and turn lead into gold, lead being symptoms and gold being pure body, that's how pharmacy worked. And so the first pharmacists were the alchemists. The first alchemists, first pharmacist / alchemist was a guy named Paracelsus. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. And so there's a very important relationship between the two. So I'm not just kind of going off on a total digression, even though it's a little bit of a digression. These ancient alchemists, though, they were no dummies. They knew some stuff. What really blows me away is how they understood the power of mercury and sulfur. Mercury and sulfur were considered to be two of the basic alchemical elements. And, as it turns out, mercury and sulfur are two very important biological elements. Mercury in terms of its toxicity, and sulfur in terms of its incredible health benefits or biological properties, biochemical properties. Sulfur is ridiculously important in the body. And the fact that it combines with mercury can be used to detoxify. In fact, sulfur in general is used to detoxify. Sulfur has a very important, we said that mercury likes to attach to things. Sulfur likes to contribute to things. Contributing electrical energy is how antioxidants work. That's what an antioxidant does. It contributes. An antioxidant, they say in fancy biochemical terms, they call it a donor. It's an electrical donor. It contributes. It donates. Mercury is poor. It's broke. Other elements are poor and broke. Toxins tend to be poor and broke. This seems to be a metaphor there. Toxins tend to be poor and broke. And so they will attach to anything they can find. They'll steal if they have to. That's what oxidation is. It's stealing, because these poor, broke little elements don't care about anything but themselves. They're selfish because they got to survive, and they'll steal electrical energy wherever they can find it. One of the places they'll steal electrical energy from is your DNA, your genetics. That's called cancer. Or at least one of the causes of cancer is mutations and changes in DNA because of poor, broke toxins, like mercury. Mercury is really poor and really broke. That's what makes it so dangerous. So anytime you can contribute electrical energy to a broke element, if you will, you're going to detoxify that element. That element will now be calm and safe. This is how vitamin C works. Vitamin C is the master antioxidant. Vitamin C donates. It's a wonderful donator. It will donate to mercury, and that will calm the mercury down. Sulfur donates. Sulfur is a major, major donator, especially for mercury. There's a special, as we've been saying, there's a special relationship, donor-recipient relationship, a special donor-recipient relationship between sulfur and mercury. And this can be used for detoxification. And that's why you want to be eating lots of onions and garlic and cruciferous vegetables. These are all very rich in sulfur. Stinky foods, eggs contain sulfur. Dairy contains sulfur. Beans contain sulfur. In fact, anything that has a stinky quality to it, whether before you eat it, like when you let your eggs rot, or if your eggs rot, I should say, or if your onions and garlic are just sitting around, or if you eat your legumes. The reason beans are the musical fruit, legumes are the musical fruit, is because of the sulfur. Meats are high in sulfur. Pretty much all high-protein foods are going to be good sources of sulfur. If you're a vegetarian, go cauliflower and broccoli and cruciferous vegetables, as well as onion and garlic. And if you want to supplement, nothing's better than MSM. MSM, I think I did a video on MSM, by the way, with my friend John T. Collier. It's on criticalhealthnews.com. MSM is super important. Not only is it, sulfur, because sulfur is a detox. MSM is a great detoxification supplement. Although, as I said yesterday, not eating is probably the best way to detox. But sulfur can help. But MSM, because of its sulfur content, is also important for hardening. Remember, we talked about vulcanization a couple weeks ago. Sulfur is involved in vulcanizing things, in hardening things, and technically it's called cross-linking. And so collagen gets its hardness from sulfur. Collagen has a certain hard nature to it. One of the most important sources of sulfur comes from arguably, at least, I don't want to say the most important, but it's one of the most important. I think cholesterol is the most important molecule in the body, personally. But this other molecule is super important. And, in fairness, a case could be made that this is the most important molecule in the body. It's called glutathione, which I absolutely, positively love. Glutathione is made up of 2 or 3 amino acids. It's a tripeptide. And the best way to get your glutathione is to eat lots of these amino acids, foods that contain these amino acids, which are basically high-protein foods. The 3 amino acids are glutamine, superstar amino acids, stands out on its own as being very important for bodybuilders and for people with digestive problems and for the brain, and just incredibly valuable amino acid. Glycine, very underappreciated amino acid, found in bone broth and cartilage-containing foods. Glycine is the simplest amino acid, just amazingly functional, particularly for detoxification, and it's part of the liver's detox processes. Glycine deficiency is actually surprisingly common. It's one of the more common amino acid deficiencies. And then the third, which I've been talking about since I first learned about it in pharmacy school 30 plus years ago, is cysteine in the form of, I learned about it in the form of N-acetylcysteine or N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine is a version of cysteine. And if you've listened to any of my talks or presentations, I'm always hitting on N-acetylcysteine for detoxification. It's an important component of our blemish repair complex. It's used in emergency rooms for detoxification, and it's the cysteine part of glutathione that is it's the active site for detoxification. The glycine has detoxifying properties. Glutamine is important for lots of things, but it's the cysteine part that has the sulfur attached to it, and that's where the detoxification properties of glutathione come from. It's the cysteine part that acts as the donor. It's the sulfur part. And if you're thinking, well, I should be getting some N-acetylcysteine to get some sulfur for detox, you're absolutely 100% correct. And not to mention the fact that you're going to be building glutathione with your N-acetylcysteine. This N-acetylcysteine stuff it's not essential, but it's pretty darn important. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open, 844-236-6010. We'll be back right after this. We are back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you. Got a few stories I want to read here. We'll continue talking about glutathione tomorrow. Glutathione, as you may have guessed, is a great building glutathione, I should say, is a great strategy for protecting yourself from mercury. Glutathione contributes to mercury via its sulfur component, and N-acetylcysteine is also a great supplement to take if you're concerned about mercury toxicity. If you're eating a lot of fish, if you're eating a lot of sushi, fish being the main vector, the main source of food-based mercury, although it's everywhere. I think the average person ingests probably, I think I read 20 micrograms of mercury a day. That's the average person. If you're eating a lot of sushi, it's more. And I love sushi. And it's just unfortunate what we've done to the environment. I hear people sometimes saying you shouldn't eat this and you shouldn't eat that because of its toxicity, and it's really no getting around it. I mean, just what's in the tap water. And if you don't drink tap water, you just drink bottled water, you're still getting tap water. I try to stay away from tap water personally. And if you're eating any baked goods, if you're eating any soups, that are made in restaurants or that are from cans, just even produce. They use tap water, basically tap water, to water the produce. So even if you're eating organic, You're still getting, if that stuff's watered from the municipal water supply, which most of it is, guess what? You could be eating organic. You're still exposing yourself to this kind of stuff. So the less you eat, the better off you're going to be. Don't starve. Get your nutrients. But the less you eat, the better off you're going to be. Make sure you're using things like sulfur and detoxifying, things like onions and garlic in terms of food, and then also MSM sulfur and N-acetylcysteine in terms of supplements, vitamin C, which I said earlier is the master antioxidant. Some people call glutathione the master antioxidant. They're both important. They both work together. They both protect you from mercury and other toxins. And we will continue discussing this tomorrow. On the bright side, 844-236-6010 is our number. This is a couple interesting stories here. This one is about something called E171, while we're on the subject of toxicity. E171 is a coloring agent that's used in various food products. It's white. Americans and humans in general love white. So you'll see lots of white-colored icings and white-colored creams, and lots of any white processed food is likely to have this E171 stuff in it. It's called, technically, titanium dioxide. Now, I've been studying titanium dioxide for a long time because it's a sunblock. Titanium dioxide is found in most sunblocks. Remember, sunscreens and sunblocks are different. Sunscreens, it's now known, enter into the blood. I've been saying this for years. Hawaii, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Hawaii, banned the use of sunscreens near the ocean because the sunscreens were toxic. So sunblocks are less toxic. Now, there's two kinds of sunblocks. One is zinc oxide, and this is the one I use, and the other is titanium dioxide. Now, topically, we don't know if titanium dioxide is a problem. I'm not sure that it is. But internally, it very well might be, according to this article anyway. This is from the journal, it's from the journal Frontiers in Nutrition. Impact of the food additive titanium dioxide, E171, on, get ready for this, gut microbiota. That is the gut flora. That is the intestine. It turns out that this ubiquitous processing chemical, food processing chemical, titanium dioxide is, quote, not inert, but rather impairs gut homeostasis, which may in turn prime the host for disease development, unquote. It's from an article just came out yesterday, Frontiers in Nutrition. Let's unpack this. I like the saying. I like the sentence. Quote, these findings collectively show that titanium dioxide is not inert, but rather impairs gut homeostasis, which may in turn prime the host for disease development. So what do you got here? Let's unpack this thing. You got titanium dioxide, that's this chemical. It's not inert. It impairs microflora, the gut bacteria, and the third part to me is the most important, which may in turn prime the host for disease development. Again, you see this link between the gut health of the gut, which is the intestine. When we say the health of the gut, we're talking about the small and large intestine. And even in this article, may in turn prime the host for disease development. You mess up the intestine, you lead yourself, or you prime yourself to the disease process. What does this tell you? Stay away from processed food. That's the best advice I can give anybody. Stay away from processed food. Pretty much everything is processed. Everything we eat, 80% or so of the foods we eat in the supermarket are processed. What's not processed? Well, processing's degree. Even all things are processed. So stay away from heavily processed food. It comes in a box, comes in plastic bags. There's a problem with the processing process, with processing foods. You inevitably will create foods that are problematic, and then they have to throw chemicals in there to make the food prettier or to make the food last longer, and those as well will inevitably cause biochemical dysfunction and ultimately disease. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Mike has been holding on for a long time. Good morning. Good morning, Mike. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing today, Ben?
I'm doing good. What's going on?
All right. Yeah, I've called a few times before, but today I'm calling because I'm meeting actually with my gastroenterologist today because I'm ready to discuss weaning off of the infliximab for a Crohn's diagnosis that I was given. And I also had a bowel resection about 7 years ago. But for the last year, I've been listening to you, been doing all the digestive health strategies, been working on the blood sugar. Still need to work on the adrenal thyroid stuff, the relaxation, mental, physical stuff, but still working on that. And
what part of the intestine? What part of the intestine do they take out?
The ileum, the 2 feet of the ileum, I believe.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I guess in my understanding of this, he's telling me that because I had like a pre-conversation, and he's saying he doesn't want to take me off it because he noticed some inflammation in some of the lab work that I did. But I'm sort of thinking that doesn't the medicine that's sort of shutting off my immune system to have the reaction, that has nothing really to do with what's causing the inflammation. So,
right, of course. So you still have the cause, but you just don't have the inflammation,
right,
which is protecting you. Which is the inflammation is protecting you, by the way. And so now you still have the cause, but you haven't got the protective device. Now, in fairness, the inflammation leads to more inflammation, and that's what he's thinking. That's what the doctor's thinking. If we stop the inflammation here, at least you won't get more inflammation. And that's the way doctors think. So that's just what you're dealing with. You're absolutely right. You want to figure out what's causing the inflammation, but you're not firing on all cylinders because you're missing the ileum. So what you want to be doing is you want to be paying very, very, very close attention to every single morsel you eat and eating as little as possible. Now, when I say eating as little as possible, I'm referring to calories. I'm not referring to nutrition. Making a distinction between nutrition and calories. The more nutrition you get with low calorie or no calorie, the better off you're going to be. And so soups, juices, you got to have enough fiber in there, though. Do you find yourself going to the back, like runny stools and diarrhea and that kind of stuff?
No, I notice when I do a lot of digestive enzymes, sometimes I'll notice that, but for the most part, no, I'm pretty good with that, yeah.
Good. So liquids, beyond tangy. Glutamine, by the way, we talked about that earlier. Glutamine might help you. Zinc, something called zinc carnosine, carnosine. Have you heard of that? That might help you.
Okay.
Folks, there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do. Hang on, we'll finish up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we got to go a little bit fast here because we've got a bunch of people to talk to. Mike, you there?
Still here? Yes.
Okay, so here's the dealio for you, my friend. The ileum, you're missing your ileum. They took it out. That means you're going to be, usually when people have the ileum removed, that's where you absorb water so that your stool won't be watery. Without an ileum, typically people have diarrhea. You say that's not an issue, so we'll pass on that. But you still may not be absorbing things like vitamin B12 because that's where vitamin B12 is absorbed. You may be missing electrolytes, and you may also have a problem with bile resorption. So you might want to do a few different things. I'd be taking lots of B vitamins. You may want to get some B12 shots. Yeah? Are you already doing that?
IV nutrition, yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I do IV nutrition.
You do IV nutrition. Good for you. That's probably keeping you in the game. That's awesome. Smart doctor, or whoever told you to do that. That's very smart. Do you have a specific question you wanted to ask?
Well, I guess so. The thing really is that I'll make it quick. Is that so? If this drug sort of shuts down my symptoms, so like the first month, because I get it every 8 weeks, this drug, I can pretty much eat what I want and I won't feel a thing. So I guess in terms of trying to figure out what is like
that's going to make it more difficult. It's going to make it more difficult because it's suppressing the response.
All right. So how would
I would wean myself off of it and I would just see what was going on. Now, but you said the doctor saw inflammation. He wants to put you on that. Listen, it's your body. You don't have to do what he tells you what to do. You got to use your own common sense. We abdicate to the doctor. We defer to their wisdom because we don't think we know enough. That's why we usually defer to the doctor. You're a smart guy, Mike. Just study up on it. Ask your doctor questions. Ask him questions. See if they pass the smell test, the BS test, or not, and you make your own decision. Without an ileum, you got a little bit. It's going to be tricky because every part of the intestine absorbs things. So you got three parts to your intestine. The first part of the intestine absorbs protein, amino acids. The second part absorbs minerals, calcium, fat-soluble vitamins. And then the third part absorbs water and vitamin B12 and a few other things. So when you lose part of the intestine, it's not like you could just take it out there. Like all the parts are interchangeable. To a certain extent, parts will take will make up for the parts that are missing. But nonetheless, you're going to be compromised in certain ways. So it's a little bit trickier with you, but you're a smart guy. You're doing the IV nutrition. I would interview my doctor, quiz my doctor, ask him questions, and then you do your research and decide what you want to do. You're in charge of your body, not your doctor.
And if he says, no, I'm not doing it, I should just find another doctor.
Heck yes.
Okay. All right.
Is he paying? Let me ask you something, Mike. Is he paying you or are you paying him?
No, I'm paying him.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Answer your question.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Right.
Take care, buddy. Good luck. God bless you. All right. I want to go to Japan and talk to my friend Ria. What's up, Ria?
Hi, Pharmacist Ben.
Hey, what's going on in Japan? It must be like, what, 5:30 in the morning or something? What are we talking about?
No, it's actually 1 a.m. So
it's 1 a.m. Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
Do you remember speaking to me
Yes, I spoke to your mom. How's your mom doing?
over Skype?
Yeah.
She's doing much better.
Good. So she took on some of the stuff.
And it's working out for her.
Good deal.
She's doing a
Good
lot
deal.
of what you told her. And at the time I spoke to you, you told me that I had food allergies. I looked like I had food allergies
Yes.
without all the acne and rashes on my face.
It didn't seem like acne. It looked
I
more
did-
rashy to me. But go ahead, yes. What did you find out?
I really don't know the difference, so I guess they're rashes.
Okay.
And I did the food elimination diet, and I think I have a pork allergy.
Well, you could, but you don't want to think.
allergy.
You don't want to think. What you want to do is you want to really be sure. And you can, it's very easy to
because
be
that-
sure. Just eat a bunch of pork. And then, or stop eating pork totally. Either way.
Pork is a huge part of my diet, and that was the main stuff I usually eat, like in all the foods in Japan. And I stopped taking pork, and I'm much better. And
Okay,
everything
good.
else that I thought I might be reacting to, I still take them, and I'm not getting much more of those rashes anymore. So I boiled it down to pork, but I guess they call it the alpha-gal allergy.
That's a meat allergy.
There's not much information I can find over the internet on this, and I thought maybe if there's something you can tell me about this.
It's a allergy to a protein called alpha-gal that's found in meat. It's an amino acid, actually.
Yeah.
It's I think it's an amino acid, and it's not a protein. But in any case, it's something that people have allergies to. Usually it's in red meat, though. I hadn't heard about it in pork, although I'm not surprised that it's in pork. It's actually, you know what? It's not. It's a sugar molecule. I apologize. It's not an amino acid. It's a sugar molecule. It's
With all the
galactose.
stuff over the internet, it sounds like some people are allergic to all kinds of red meat. Some people are allergic only to pork. Some are only to beef, and it's different for everyone. And
I'm not. Yeah, it's different for everyone. It's not a lot of. You're right. There's not a lot of information on it. I don't know necessarily. They associate it with tick bites. Did you know that, by the way?
Yes, and I do remember getting a tick bite like 3 years ago. So, but then this
Okay, I didn't look like that to me.
A year ago.
Based on what I saw, I don't think it could be, but I don't know. Do you have any other symptoms? Are you like tired after you eat meat? Do you have like sneezing or headaches, or do you have runny nose after you eat meat? Do you? See if you have any of these symptoms.
Really paid attention.
It didn't look like that. Respectfully, Ria, it didn't look like that to me. No, did you fast?
What did you think? What did
It looked more like gluten or dairy, beans, peanuts. It didn't look like alpha-gal. Alpha-gal is you'll usually have things like runny nose or wheeziness or hives or something like that. It didn't look like that to me. I would say keep looking, personally. Did you fast?
Okay.
Did you fast?
Yeah, I did fast. I did.
And then how long did you fast for? How long did you fast for?
I fasted 1 day,
Okay, that's
and then
good.
I took.
So fast for a day
I have
again.
like 5 items on my list.
Here's what I would do if I were you. This is my advice here. I want to get a couple more calls, and so I'm going to go fast here. This is what I would do, okay? Fast for a day, or even 2 would be better, actually. Then eat a bunch of bread, okay? Or eat a bunch of peanut butter.
Okay.
Eat a bunch of one of the
But what
foods
if
that
I
you
usually don't eat stuff like that? Like,
you don't eat stuff like that.
Because I'm on the ketogenic
Well, you're not
diet,
only eating
so-
pork. You're not only eating pork, are you? That's not. What else do you eat?
No, I'm basically on the ketogenic diet, so like lots of vegetables, butter, coconut oil, almonds.
Any beans?
Not really.
Legumes?
No.
You know what legumes are?
No.
Legumes are like peanuts.
No legumes for me.
No legumes. Okay.
No legumes.
I'm not buying the alpha-gal thing. Doesn't look like alpha-gal to me. Got to keep looking there. Rhea, I'm going to let you go, but you're a smart lady. Keep looking. Keep looking. Let me know what happens. Okay. Let me know what you find.
Okay.
I'm saying
I'll email you.
Let me know what happens. Thank you. All right.
Okay,
let's go to take care. All right. Let's go to Zoraida. I think I said that right. Zoraida in Florida. Did I say that right, Zoraida?
You said it right. Yes, you did. Zoraida.
Zoraida.
Oh,
yes, I've talked to you before, Zoraida. Hi, Zoraida.
Hi, I'm so glad I got through.
Yes, ma'am. But you only had a minute.
Oh, gosh. Well, then I'll go quickly. I have type 2 diabetes, and I've been taking medication now for a number of years.
Can I ask you how old you are? Can I ask you
how old? 71.
71?
Yes.
You sound like a little kid. Oh my gosh!
I look younger too.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Thank you. All
right. So the diabetes is, you don't need medicine for the diabetes. I'm not telling you to stop taking the medicine, but I am telling you don't need it. So it's a food thing, strictly food. Diabetes is strictly a food issue. And they give you drugs because, number one, the drug companies want to sell drugs, and number two, doctors are lazy, and number three, blood sugar is a problem. And so if you're not going to deal with the food issue, you got to lower the blood sugar somehow, because the blood sugar is a problem. So, there's reasons to take the drugs, but you don't need them if you take care of the food. So what you got to do right away is take care of the food issue. I would start going ketogenic as soon as possible. That means high fat, low calorie, and low carbohydrate. Okay?
The thing is that I know the ketogenic makes you lose weight right away. Yeah. And I don't know that
You're not going to lose any weight you don't need to lose. Zoraida, you're not going to lose weight that you don't need to lose. Your body will maintain a good weight. You'll only lose weight that you don't need. You only lose body fat.
My son has been telling me that. But my other question is, if we have a little time, that I developed somewhat of a high blood pressure in the past couple of months.
That's all part of it. They haven't controlled the blood sugar. I mean, your blood sugar is not under control, and your insulin's not under control. High blood pressure is part of diabetes. They call it metabolic syndrome. I call it as part of diabetes. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you some more. It's a great question. You're going to help. You can help a lot of people, or we can help a lot of people if you call back tomorrow. But I got to go. We're out of time.
But I've been calling for weeks now, and this is the
call tomorrow. I'll get you up first up. I apologize. That's on me. And we're out of time. That's it. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.